Hi everybody. Today I have a little bit of extra time on my lunch break. It's an early lunch break. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. But it's an early shift for me. And given the extra time, I'm going to read you a snippet. Sorry about I cut my finger. I'm going to read you a little snippet from Union County Fall, my first novel about an EMP attack on the United States. This is from chapter 6, a subchapter titled Drew. The EMP has just happened. No, this isn't really happening. No. Sterling jumped off his lap and ran into the bedroom. Drew stood up, threw his phone on the couch, and paced back and forth in front of the TV. Everything was dark. The only light was coming in through the curtains. No, it can't be. I'll call Dalton and... Oh, shit. He opened the sliding glass doors and stepped out onto the balcony. The streets were quiet. Drew lived in the middle of Atlanta, Georgia. There was never a time when the streets were quiet. Shit, he mumbled to himself, more in resignation than in panic. He took a deep breath and went back inside. Standing in the living room, Drew looked around his condo. No. He straightened up, determined. No, this isn't happening. All his hard work, his savings, his 401k, his investments. I just got this couch. Nope. A voice echoed in his head. You have to leave now. No, he shouted. Embarrassed, he looked around. Right, nobody's here. He sat down on his expensive postmodern sofa and ran his fingers over the supple leather. This is my home. He looked up at the 60-inch OLED TV on the wall, the custom cabinets, and down at the vintage hand-woven rug. His heart was heavy. No. You have to leave now. Drew sat on the sofa for over an hour as the reality of the situation broke through his tough outer shell and seeped into his soul. He had to leave his home, and he had to leave now. He had already done battle in his head over what he could take with him, what pieces of his life he could save. He eventually realized that since he was going to be walking, there wasn't much he could take with him besides the cats and his pack. What about something small? Oh! Drew jumped up from the couch and in a last-minute dash around the house, grabbed a handful of sentimental items and stuffed them into his bag. That made him feel marginally better. He took one last walk around his home, running his hand over everything he had worked so hard to achieve. This is really it. Everything I've worked for. My home. He paused and wiped a tear from his cheek. My savings, my friends, my life. He couldn't bring himself to say the word, but what it was indeed all gone. Dalton's urgent voice echoed in Drew's head. Time is of the essence. You need to get out before everyone else gets wise. You have the advantage. Go! That helped shake Drew out of his melancholy. Where are the cats? Thanks to his work with his brother, on his birthday of all days, Drew was actually ready. Not only did he have his bug-out bag and gear ready to go, to his surprise, his subconscious was also ready to go. Did he do that on purpose? Drew wondered if that was part of Dalton's plan. Either way, once his mind accepted that this was indeed it, the rest was relatively easy. To most people, it would merely be a power outage, and if he moved quickly, he could make it to his mom's house in less than 2 days. He took another deep breath to calm his nerves. Sterling! Paisley! Let's go! Almost as if they knew the urgency of the situation, his 2 Scottish folds ran up to him and gladly climbed into the special carrier Drew had purchased just for this occasion. Good babies, you're so smart. He rubbed their cheeks and scratched their foreheads. He could feel them purring. One less thing to worry about. He took another walk around his home and opened the front door. Before he stepped over the threshold, he turned around for one last look. Wiping another tear from his eye, he smiled. Goodbye, sweet home. I hope someday we can pick up where we left off. Not likely, but a man can dream. Drew locked the door, pulled his hoodie over his head, wrote the word quarantine in marker on his door, and walked quietly down the hallway. If you like that, I'd be happy to read more.